All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ellen Mueller. I'm the director of the MFA program. And in today's webinar, we're going to go through a little slideshow here from myself for about 15-20 minutes. That'll be followed by our student who's speaking today, which is Alonzo. And he'll go through some images of his work and talk about his experience in the program. And then finally, we'll complete the webinar with Mary Kazura, Director of Admissions. She'll give information about applying to the program. And throughout this entire process, you're welcome to type questions into the chat box or take notes if that works better. Feel free to screen capture something if you have a question about a particular slide or a moment, and we'll work hard to make sure we answer everybody's questions. So to begin with, this is a 2-year, 60 credit, one-on-one mentoring program. Mentoring is the centerpiece of our program. And as I go through this slideshow, we'll dive into details on all of these elements. So let's see here. To start with, we have a whole bunch of concentrations, and we're a deeply interdisciplinary program. That mentor work that I mentioned before is the core of the program, and that's where you do a lot of this media-specific work, depending on what areas you're interested in. And then in your graduate critique seminars, which happen each semester, that's where we get really interdisciplinary and we critique with everyone in the room, which is a really fantastic part of the program that stretches us in terms of our ability to speak and write about broad subject matter. So we are located in Minneapolis, which is a fantastic area to be located in. The arts and design scene in the Twin Cities is super strong, very active. You're never gonna have a night where there's not something to do in this area. We're right across the street from the Minneapolis Institute of Art. We're over there all the time. In Minneapolis, we've also got the Walker Arts Center, which is fantastic. We have tons of events and activities like Autoptic Festival, which is comics, illustration, art, music. We have so many different discussion series. The McKnight Visual Arts discussion series is just one of many. We also have really community-driven events like television for those interested in animation and zines that have been built up by community members. We have just a whole slew of events at the Walker Arts Center. One in particular I'll call out is their collaboration with AIGA, if we've got any graphic designers in the audience today. They also have a really great series of performances every February, if anybody's interested in performance. And then there's all sorts of community festivals and events. The Art Shanty projects are a really cool Minnesota-specific event that happens each winter. And then in the summer, we've got Northern Spark Festival and just a whole bunch of other ones. These are some of the most popular and well-known. So let's take a look at the graduate studios in the gallery. We're one block from the main campus, so we're very close. We walk in between these two buildings all the time, and we can accommodate all kinds of media, all different kinds of ways of working. At any given time, we can have up to 50 different studios. Each student gets their own private studio. And these studios are available in the summer between your first year and your second year, which is excellent. Some people go out into the world for their summer, and others like to stay and work really hard for those 3 months. And as you'll see, as I flip through lots of pictures, you can see we've got people working across so many different media. It could be analog, digital, it could be sculptural, 2D, 3D, 4D, painters, and everything in between. So mentorship, as I mentioned, is really the core of our program. And it's a one-on-one experience. You get to select your mentor. When you come into the program, we set you up with at least 3 different options. And you can work with whomever you select continuously throughout the program for 2 years. Or some people like to think really strategically about their multifaceted practices, and they might choose to work with different mentors in different semesters. So we really encourage you to take the reins on your education and make decisions that are best suited for you. That flexibility is something we really value. And that's where we're going with building a team. You want to find people who are invested in you and your personal success, and we try to help you with that at every step of the way. So these are just some shots of folks with their mentors meeting in their studios. And as you can see, it can look very different depending on who the student and the mentor are. So main campus, we've got some shots here of what the buildings look like from the outside. It's a gorgeous campus. We've got fantastic facilities. Here we've got the 3D shop. There's so many different tools, different processes that are supported. We've got all the Fab Lab stuff you could want, whether it's CNC, laser cutting, 3D printing. We also have a ton of hand tools. There's great support and staff in those shops. Same with our video equipment, our photography equipment, all our electronics that are available for checking out. MCAD has great facilities for audio, video, photography. These studios are available for checkout, and you can take all that equipment you've checked out and produce work in these gorgeous studios. And then printing facilities. We have a fantastic service bureau. We have this printing facility on the main campus. We also have printing facilities in the MCAD MFA studios. The black box is a really nice black studio for screening work, especially video work. And then the library is a wonderful resource, beautiful light in that space, tons of, it's a really stellar art and design library. Classrooms, this just gives you a sense of what our classrooms look like. The print shop is fantastic. If you have any interest in printmaking, they support all the different printmaking modes of making. And here's a couple more shots of the exterior of some of our buildings. And then classes and critiques. So this is a map of our 4-semester timeline. And as you can see, we've got through every semester, all 4 semesters, studio core, which is mentor work. That's meeting with your mentor once a week. And then we also have the graduate critique seminar, which is 3 credits through every seminar or every semester, except for the last one where that work is replaced with your thesis exhibition work. And then also every semester you've got a liberal arts seminar. And in the first year, you're going to notice that introduces you to a lot of really big ideas and how your work might fit within those ideas. And then in the second year, those liberal arts seminars are all about crafting your thesis, which means a lot of research, a lot of discussion, and a lot of work on that paper. And then if anybody's interested in teaching, we also have an optional teaching practicum for anyone who's interested in teaching at the higher ed level. And that's added costs in the summer, and you get to be a TA for a teacher in the fall semester, and that is a really wonderful learning experience that a lot of our students enjoy. So grad cred seminar, this is where everybody comes together. This is the really interdisciplinary part of our program. This is folks coming together, discussing work every single week. In grad cred seminar, we bring in visiting artists and they speak to the class about their work, and then they assist in critiquing the work of 2 students each week. So by the end of your time in the program, you're going to see about 25 to 30 different visiting artists in class, let alone the visiting artists out of class, which is a really unique and wonderful feature of the program. And then we mentioned those liberal art classes. This is our MFA classroom. This is a shot of a visiting artist who visited via video. And like I said, you're going to be crafting the narrative about your work in these liberal art classes. I like to think of your time in the program as a diamond. So in year 1, you're going really wide with your research. You're being weird, you're taking risks, you're investigating lots of different ideas and being very open-ended. And then in year 2, we really start to narrow that focus and we refine, we articulate, we move towards a clear thesis body of work. So summers, so many things you can do in the summer. This is just an example from Sashir. He went to Iceland on a residency. We send a lot of people out to residencies. There are the option to also pursue the teaching seminar, which I mentioned. There's the pre-college summer session. If you want to get even more teaching experience, you can be a TA in that experience as well. So you can be hunkered down in your studio making work, or if you're interested in some of these other opportunities, those are available. All right, mid-program review. This occurs at the end of the first semester, or sorry, the first year. And this is sort of a dry run for your thesis review. So in this process, there's a lot of work that goes into each student installing their work. And then we set up a review time in 1 hour slot with a committee. And the student gets to speak about their work and then receive feedback for 45 minutes. And this is a great opportunity to reflect on everything you've done over the course of your first year, and then start to chart a path and gather some clear questions for the final year. And in your third semester, we end with the MFA research presentations, where you take all the research you've been doing over the third semester and you present it publicly. We just finished these and they were excellent. It was really great to hear from all of our second year students who have done just really fantastic work, and they were able to share it with the public. So that brings us to thesis, the final capstone event of the program. And I'm just going to sort of walk through some different images. You can see folks defending their work. You can see again the committee in front of them and the work installed professionally in the gallery space. Lots of different ways of installing are supported, and we want to be really open to all different ways of making in this thesis process. So visiting artists, as I mentioned, you'll see a ton of visiting artists in your class. And then beyond that, MCAD brings in really stellar visiting artists each year. We've had folks like Sharon Butler, Greg Hoffman from Nike. We've had Fong Bui from the Brooklyn Rail. So just really big names that are really fantastic to hear from. And MCAD exhibitions and events, these are all student designed, organized, and executed. The students do a ton of work on these. In the fall, we have the fall exhibition right when school starts. We end the fall semester with open studio night. And in the spring, we have the thesis exhibition. And in addition to those 3 MFA specific exhibitions and events, there are several smaller galleries all across campus for student use. And professional practice. This is really important because we want to make sure that our students feel ready when they graduate. So we do a lot of different workshops. This is just a small sampling of some of the things we've done over the past year and a half or so. These topics are selected by our current students, and we make sure that we bring in speakers who can speak to the concerns of our current students. We really want to be responsive to all of their needs. Other events that MCAD sponsors and organizes are the Emerging Talent Showcase. They bring in a ton of regional employers, and you get a lot of interview practice, and folks look at your portfolio and give you tons of great feedback. A lot of people score internships and jobs for after graduation with this event. Also DesignWorks, if we've got anybody interested in graphic design, DesignWorks is our in-house design firm, and students often go up there and get part of their graduate assistantship in DesignWorks, so they have that on their CV when they graduate. And then the art sale, this is huge. Each year MCAD sponsors this massive art sale, and students are able to sell a lot of work to really a supporting community here. We really encourage folks to take advantage, and they can continue to take advantage for 5 years after they graduate, which I think is fantastic. So residencies and fellowships. This year we're starting launch programming, which is a series of funded opportunities, and one of them is the Airmont University Fellows Program. We send 2 students to this program every year. They get a fully funded week-long workshop plus room, board, and a travel stipend. So we're excited to send 2 more students this year. This year we started working with Water Bar, which is a local artist collective that focuses on water issues. And we sent 2 of our illustration students over there for a funded fellowship, and that will continue next year. And then this winter break, we're sending 3 students up for a residency in northern Minnesota over the 8 days of winter break, which is really exciting. It's sponsored by one of our MCAD alums, and it's a great way to start building your CV. Also on this launch programming list, we have a competitive solo show at Sioux Visual Arts Center, a local gallery, and we have a competitive solo show at the Rochester Arts Center. These are really great venues, and we're excited to help provide funding for students to go and start their careers there. Other residencies, we've sent folks to Wisconsin for film-based residencies, and as far as Germany for art education residencies. So we support really wide-ranging practices. And then I'm just going to flip quickly through some student work so you get a sense of all the different things that our students are up to, whether it's photography, installation, performance, painting, public art, sculpture. There's just so much that our students are doing, and they're working across such a broad spectrum. I feel like we're really lucky to have such amazing work in this program and amazing artists and designers in this program. So you really get a sense of the breadth here as I'm flipping through. And if you have questions about any of this, feel free to check it out and type questions into the chat box. So alumni highlights, our alumni are just simply stunning. They do really fantastic things. Heather Lamano just graduated last year. She scored a one-year residency at Second Shift Studios, beautiful studio pictured here. We've got folks who've gone on to work collaboratively. Lauren Thorson and Yash Stefanski collaborated, and then now they're both, like, Yash is working at the Walker and Lauren's down at VCU. Steve Listwan, amazing fabrication skills, has gone on to work with some really big name companies. We're really excited for him. Luisa Rivera, amazing illustrator. She's located in London now, doing great things. Gorgeous work. Greta McLean started her own mural company, and she's just doing fantastic community engaged work, has really put herself out there. Amanda Lovely, socially engaged artist, doing lots of installation and public engagement. This is an example of one of her collaborative projects. John Keston, multimedia work. He is performing all the time, and we see him out there doing a lot of electronic improvisation. Sing Lee just opened a solo show at the Minneapolis Institute of Art a couple months ago through the Minnesota Exhibition Program. Really exciting work. And then the last part that most people are really curious about is the portfolio sample. So this is one complete portfolio. And the reason we show this is so that you can get a sense of what does a successful portfolio look like. This one happens to be for illustration, but the things we're looking at here are that the student included a lot of really strong work. There's a sort of a through line. It might not all be on the same topic, but you can see a consistency of her interests and her formal approach to the work. So there's diversity in there, but there's also a sense of cohesion, which is really great. And then finally, just some links that might be useful. Feel free to screenshot that if that is, if you're interested in visiting any of those sites. So we've got our social media links and our websites on there. And with that, I'm going to hand this back over to Mary.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. That was really fun to take a look at all of those materials, particularly like what our alumni are doing right now. Let me get some general information up on the page. So you might be familiar just with me as the person that emails you a lot. Again, my name is Mary Kazura, and I am the Director of Admissions here at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. And I'm essentially, I'm basically the gatekeeper. So when you work on the admissions process, you're going to be corresponding with me about getting materials in and any questions that you have about materials, as well as any questions that you might have about deadlines or financial aid or potentially setting up a visit to campus. Those would be all things that I could help you with. So let me, excuse me, let me share my main screen with you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the admissions process, how you will be submitting materials. So we are currently accepting applications for the fall 2020 MFA semester. We only have one intake per year, and that's for fall. We don't intake students for the spring semester. And the deadline for fall is January 15th. So that's rolling up here in less than a month. But luckily it's winter break for a lot of people, so it gives you a chance to kind of put some stuff together and get it sent in to us. So the page that you're going to want to check out I'll actually copy and paste it and put it into that chat box, which, by the way, don't hesitate to type questions in there if you have anything you want to ask us. Okay. All right. So again, this page is going to show you just a really general overview of things like tuition fees, the application checklist, dates and deadlines, and then where the online application is. So there is a specific online application that you need to fill out in order to apply to any of our degree-seeking programs at MCAD. And this is what it looks like. You can get to that online application from almost any page on our website via the Apply for Admission button on the right-hand side. So jumping forward, let's take a look at a cost at the tuition fees for the 2019-2020 academic year in the Master of Fine Arts program. So per year, the tuition is $39,946. So per credit fee is around $1,665. This is the same overall full-time per year fee and per credit fee as our undergraduate students are paying. Per year, there is a $200 student activity fee, $250 technology fee, health insurance. Like if you don't have health insurance and you need to purchase our health insurance, we do have a plan that's available, and that's $2,342 a year. And then we estimate your supplies at around $3,060 per year. It really depends on what you're doing, what kind of materials you're purchasing. I think that really varies from student to student. We do offer on-campus housing. It's literally apartment buildings that are right here on the block with the main building and the Morrison building. So they're about 2 blocks away from the MFA building. And these apartment buildings are primarily reserved for international MFA students, but domestic MFA students can also apply for these apartments. They just kind of get the last choice. Now, if you are a domestic student that is looking to relocate to the Twin Cities, we're in a residential neighborhood to begin with. There are lots and lots of apartments within walking distance of our campus. And one of the ways to get connected to apartments that are coming open is to, get connected to and hook up with the MCAD MFA Facebook site, which is a great place to just ask questions and potentially connect with other alumni or current students and find out if there's apartments available to rent. But it is nice to be in a residential neighborhood with lots of apartment buildings. So there is also a one-time fee for all new students that are admitted and want to be enrolled in the program. So this is a tuition deposit. It's $300, and that $300 is credited toward your first semester's tuition at MCAD. It's basically a down payment. It's money you're putting down, guaranteeing that, yes, you're going to be coming here. And then we put that money back towards paying off $300 of your first semester's tuition. So in terms of financial aid opportunities that are available for students, let's just take a quick look at that. So there are different types of aid available, and we'll just talk about them really quickly. So all students in the MFA program will be reviewed for merit scholarships. So this is free money that we give to students that does not have to be repaid. These merit scholarships are based on your admissions materials, your incoming admissions materials that you're showing. So we look at your application file holistically, looking at your, usually your portfolios being the most important thing, then grades, statement of interest, letters of recommendation, resume, all that. We look at it all together and use that to determine your scholarship. Again, scholarships do not need to be repaid. And the scholarships that we're offering are renewable up to 2 years. I think the minimum scholarship we're offering is a $6,000 scholarship per year for up to 2 years, and the maximum we're offering is $18,000 a year for up to 2 years. So those are everybody, domestic and international, can apply for those. Additionally, grants, I believe there may be some grants that are available to international students, but I think primarily domestic. students do not need to repay grants. This is again gift aid. This is money that we're giving students that they don't have to repay. Loans, those are going to be applied for through the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is money that has to be repaid, and it's only available to domestic students. International students cannot apply for these. All of our incoming students will also be granted a graduate assistantship. So a graduate assistantship is essentially like a high-level work study position on campus. And the award that you receive is $6,000 over 2 semesters at an hourly rate of $13 an hour, maximum 16 hours per week. So some students do choose to take this because they want to be on campus. This works out for them with their schedule, their learning, their courses. Other students feel that they can make more money working a job off campus and choose not to take this. So you only are awarded the $6,000 if you actually work a job on campus. So that is the graduate assistantship. And then there is an installment payment plan that's available to all of our students in the Master of Fine Arts program. So that's just kind of a quick taking a look at those financial aid and scholarship and admissions requirements. So just kind of popping back over to where all the admissions materials will be sent. So after you've done your online application, you're going to want to go to mcad.slideroom.com. And this is where you're going to actually submit your admissions materials, the other admissions materials. So at mcad.slideroom.com, it will remind you to do an online application. It'll also remind you that, hey, if you're thinking about applying for a master's program, you need to have already completed a 4-year bachelor's degree or will be completing it. So if you're a high school student, you're really excited to be a master in fine arts, you got to wait a couple of years. You need to complete your 4-year undergraduate degree first. So down here, it shows all of the different degree programs that we're accepting students in right now. And you're going to see the MFA Fall 2020 listed here. This is the only MFA, and it gives you January 15th, 2020 as your deadline. So you'll go ahead and click on that. And then down here, click on Apply Now. So this is just you signing up for a SlideRoom account. That's all you're doing. And this is free, it doesn't cost anything, but this is not the application for admission. I just want to be really clear about that. And once you've signed up and created your account in SlideRoom, you will be taken to a page where essentially it's going to kind of look like this. I'll have really super general information here, and it'll remind you about the different materials that you need to submit. So each different material is going to have a tab. And the example I'm showing you right now is a different program. It's Master of Arts in Graphic and Web Design. So we're going to actually just pop back to the main page. Oh, I guess I have to actually log out. So I'll pop back to the main page and just take a look at what the specific MFA requirements are, which I can show you here. So in the first tab, in the personal statement tab, you have 3 different questions to write to. Please take your time, really consider these, think about it. Don't necessarily write what you think we want to hear. We want to hear how your mind works and what your thoughts are and what's important to you. But we do want you to write up to the word limit. So yeah, it's not a put 30 words in, no, please do write up to the 300 word limit if you can. Also, there is the option to upload a video, an introductory video where you're just talking about yourself and introducing yourself. This is completely optional. It will not hurt your admission to MCAD if you do not submit a video, but it does help us get to know you a little better. So I would highly encourage you, even if it's just like a 30-second video, to upload something. And we've included a couple of questions down here to sort of help prompt you if you're having some questions about what to talk about. In the attachments tab, this is where you're going to submit your resume. You can submit up to a 4-page resume, so no bigger than that. You're going to want to talk about your education, past and present, volunteer, professional, work experience, any appointments or awards or accolades or memberships that you belong to, grants, scholarships, anything that's kind of relevant for us to know about your background. And then you're also going to attach a college transcript. So I get a lot of questions about college transcripts. So the transcripts that you're attaching to SlideRoom, these are technically considered unofficial transcripts because generally people are just taking photos of their official transcripts or a scan or a PDF, and they're uploading it into SlideRoom. But these unofficial transcripts are completely acceptable as placeholders for an admissions decision. So yes, if you are having a hard time getting an official copy of your transcripts, and that copy won't arrive to MCAD until after the deadline, that's okay, but I do need to see an unofficial copy uploaded into mcad.slideroom.com in order to make an admissions decision, and that needs to be in there by January 15th. So hope that makes sense. Down in the references tab, this is where you will enter 2 recommenders. So it's kind of important to vet your recommenders beforehand, talk to them, find out if they're okay with writing a letter, and let them know that they'll be getting an email from SlideRoom requesting that they upload their letter of recommendation. So what you do is you add their contact information into SlideRoom, and then SlideRoom emails those recommenders based on the information you provided. Your recommenders can then click the link in the email, and it'll take them to a specific site where your recommender can upload their letter of recommendation for you. That's how these letters of recommendation get to us. The portfolio of art should be 20 or more pieces of your best, most recent work, demonstrating a really strong body of work that's in your chosen focus or discipline. You know, if you have really long film and video work or animation work, you're going to want to cut it down, just show a sample of that work. But you can show everything from still imagery to animations and sketches and stuff that's on YouTube, Vimeo, or SoundCloud. But the key with the portfolio is that you're going to want to show a really focused, really well-polished, completed portfolio that does kind of talk a little bit about sort of what you want to study in our program. So it needs to touch on not only, you know, your skills, because we do expect that you already have a certain level of skills. You're coming into a graduate level program, so expect you to have graduate level skills already. But maybe you want to focus more on some of the big ideas or concepts that you're drawn to, that you want to work with when you're in our program. One of the nice things that we do offer, and we offer to everybody, is that I am happy to take a look at your portfolio in progress before you submit it to SlideRoom and give you some feedback on that. That's something I'm happy to do. Now, I will qualify that with our winter break is going to start in 2 days. So the Minneapolis College of Art and Design will actually be closed, and I won't be here. I won't be back until January 6th. So you have some time. You can get some stuff together and you can email it to me, but I probably won't be responding to you until the week of January 6th, which can be a little harrowing. So if you have anybody out there that you really value their opinion or their input, please share your portfolio with them, see if you can get some feedback from them as well. But when I get back from break after the 6th, I'm happy to take a look at your work and give you feedback before you officially submit it. So that is my general information about the admissions process. And I guess I'm going to turn it back over to Ellen here. Are you ready to?
Yeah, I think Alonzo is up next, right?
Oh, great. Yeah, Alonzo, are you ready to go? Nope. Okay. Alonzo, you can take yourself off mute if you want. Okay, cool.
Great.
Yeah, great. I'm going to make you presenter, and if you are ready for that, it is coming. So you should have like a little box. There you go. You got it. Okay, Alonzo, I'm going to let you take it away. Go ahead.
Yes, and then if anyone does have any questions or comments along the way, feel free to type those in. Otherwise, I'll just kind of go over my website and a few things. But give me a second here. So I learned about MCAD in high school. I think it was a recruiter that came over, and I was really interested in the way they talked about MCAD being an interdisciplinary institution. And I think what really struck to me was the mentorship, and that still does. So I came in the program as a painter. So let me show you some work of that. For the first 2 weeks, I was doing paintings. And because the graduate program is interdisciplinary, you do get a lot of feedback in that sense. So you are pushed in different directions. And I eventually started to get away from the wall and move towards installation or sculpture, which was new to me. I have my BFA is in painting and drawing, and I believe Jessica Munich-Ganger graduated from the MFA program as well. And she's the head of department in the printmaking area. So she also, when I was at UWM, she was able to sort of help me make the application, kind of facilitate that. And then Melissa Lawler, I think, is another person. But what I really like about the program here is the mentorship again, because you work with an artist, a designer, a maker, who you meet either once a week or bi-weekly. I meet with my mentor every 2 weeks because it just works better for me and him. And it's kind of just like a studio visit. And we really just talk about stuff that I wouldn't necessarily talk about in a critique, just because you only get an hour for a critique and you really want to be mindful of what kind of feedback that you want. Because the visiting artists are very diverse and their backgrounds also accommodate the other students. So it's not only about you. So it has to be very succinct. Anyways, but yeah, this is sort of the work that I am kind of making now. More fiber materials, installation. This is earlier work, so it's still somewhat attached to the wall, but the work that I had at the very beginning here, that's kind of more of the direction that I'm heading. I will say that when you're selecting a mentor, I think it's important to just be open mind or keep an open mind when you're interviewing them. Because I think the ones that I least expected that they would sort of come back are the ones that I ended up going with. And even if I was a painter and thinking about choosing a mentor who's a painter, that it didn't just, for me, it just didn't connect. Because I ended up going with a printmaker my first year. And then my second year, I have someone who's interdisciplinary, similar to what I am. So that's why I wanted to go to another mentor who's going to be able to speak to that. And then, yeah, my GA here, my first year was at the library. So I was able to oversee a lot of just reshelving books, research, helping undergrads, graduate students find books and any sources that they needed for their research. So I think that was really helpful for me to be sort of as an insider and get the tools for my thesis, because then I was able to sort of like find those sources for myself much quicker, much faster. And then my second year, which is what I'm doing now, is I facilitate the MFA gallery and studio space. So prepping the walls, just painting them, making sure tools are back in place, inventory. And I think that for me is also a good experience, just because it helps me understand how you kind of run a gallery. So yeah, and I TA, which sort of happened unexpectedly. There was an undergrad instructor that was looking for a position, and I that it was free, and she asked me to TA again. So I'll be TAing with her in the spring. So that's nice. And yeah, I don't know if anyone has any specific questions, or if I should speak about other things. I guess I can go to about. So that's me. Just to kind of give you a face to a voice. But yeah, I also work at the Walker, so it's also very nice to be able to get a little insider look to the exhibitions and lectures and films that they're screening, performances. I think also one of the things that I really like about it, and I think Ellen touched a little bit on this, is Minneapolis and St. Paul are filled with artists. And I think you being a grad student here makes it so much easier to ask them for a studio visit, because they're more willing to say yes, just because you're a student and they appreciate them coming in and giving your feedback. So that's what I focused in my first year here. I did a lot of studio visits. I think I was doing 2 to 3 a month. And then because your second year, you are going to be busy with thesis writing. So I didn't get a lot to do that this year, but my final semester, next semester, it seems like it's going to be a bit more quieter. So yeah, that's all I have. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or if I should talk a little bit more about other things.
No, that's really good. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat message box. And also, if you're comfortable with that, Alonzo, do you want to type your email into the chat box if anybody has any questions?
Oh yeah,
reach out to you. Yeah, we want to make sure we also respect everybody's time. We know you might be attending this webinar during your lunch break, or on your way to something. So if you do have any questions, we're all ears. Also, there's only a few of us online, so if you wanted to unmute yourself and just ask a question, you're welcome to do that too. And Ellen, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, Alonzo, you did a really great job of covering the student perspective there. I would just emphasize and echo that idea of the Twin Cities is such an awesome place. It's a really good place to be an artist, a designer, a maker of any kind. It's just kind of astounding. I've lived a lot of different places in the United States, and we've got something pretty unique here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, all right, folks. I do recognize a couple names in there. I'll make sure to follow up with you all. We did take a recording of this webinar, so if you wanted to take a look at it and go over it during the break, you definitely are welcome to do that. Otherwise, I want to thank Ellen and Alonzo for joining us today. And I guess I'll let everybody go back to what they were doing. Unless anybody has any other questions. All right. Well, hope you all have a great holiday break. Hope you get some rest. And please don't hesitate to reach out and ask us questions. We're happy to help. Again, got Ellen's email in there, and I'm going to go ahead and type mine again. It's Kazura at mcad.edu. Well, that's not it. Okay. Help if I knew how to spell. Okay. All right. Well, take care, everybody. And I hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.